Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Daniel.
I'm Felicia.
And welcome to our channel.
Let's go.
So in today's video, Felicia is going to bring me somewhere to eat. So where are we going?
We are going to Ang Mo Kio Avenue 4, block 628. So this particular market has been around for easily more than 15 years. I've been living at Ang Mo Kio region previously. So I actually know that market really well.
Okay.
And one of my favorite food that I always eat is chicken rice. In that market, there's actually a lot of chicken rice. But there's this particular store that I always frequent. So whenever I go to that market, I always order that chicken rice without meal.
What's so special about chicken rice?
So basically what I like about this chicken rice is firstly, the rice itself has to be fragrant and very flavorful. Next would be the chili. So chili is a very important component for me when I eat chicken rice. Last but not least, the chicken itself. So you excited to try my favorite chicken rice? Hello, Uncle.
Alright, so here we are at the hawker center. So where is this hawker center again?
So this is at Ang Mo Kio Avenue 4, block 628.
Where's the nearest MRT station?
So the nearest MRT station is actually at Yio Chu Kang MRT station. It's approximately 5 to 7 minutes walk.
Here we have the steamed chicken, aka the white chicken. Why would you recommend a white chicken?
I personally prefer steamed chicken over roasted chicken.
Why?
Why? I think in general, for me personally, I prefer steamed food rather than fried food.
Healthier. Personally, I also prefer like steamed chicken also lah, because the meat is very tender, very nice. Then some people may not like the skin because it's a little bit more like jelly-like. But I don't really mind the skin. But normally the meat is more tender. Yeah. How do we tell whether is it a good chicken? Is sometimes right when you eat it, the texture is very cute. Some chicken rice store, when they prepare their chicken rice, their meat is very dry, and it's not really up to standard. So not only the chicken, we also look at the rice. The rice needs to have a certain aroma, need to have a certain fragrance. Yeah. So if let's say the rice doesn't have that impact, I don't think it's a good chicken rice.
Agree. And I think other than the rice, I think for me, right, one very important component is the chili. So, like, I mean, in Singapore, there's a lot of chicken rice store. Yeah. Chili-wise, I mean, it's easy to make chili, but it's not easy to make chili that is very fragrant. And most importantly, the chili has to mix well with the rice actually.
So maybe without further ado, let's get started.
Okay, so normally for me, right, the first thing I'll do is I'll put the chili on the rice, like that, then I'll mix it. Then making sure that you know the rice like that
Fully coated.
it's well coated with the chili. I dropped my rice here.
It's good, yeah.
Yes, you have to mix properly.
Okay, yes.
You never mix properly.
This is like bibimbap, yeah.
So for chili, right, it's very important to mix properly. Basically, if it's not well mixed, right, you won't be able to taste how the chili and the rice fuse together.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, cheers.
Smells good. I heard that the chicken rice is not easy to get, especially the steamed chicken. Is it true?
Yeah, because it's always like kind of like sold out. So actually the one thing, right, is that you have to come here really early. Usually for me, right, I'll come around like 11:20, 11:30. I ever tried 11 o'clock, you can try, but depends because sometimes the uncle won't be ready.
So right now the timing is about 12 o'clock now, and we still managed to secure like one steamed chicken. Let's try the chicken. I ate the chicken breast. chicken breast is known for being tough, but the chicken breast here is not too bad. It's not that dry as well. Some chicken breast is super dry, but it is quite tender. Fragrant.
Okay. Like okay,
And
maybe.
it's quite moist. Yeah, some chicken rice store right, it's just dry and it's not as young as this one. Yeah, but I can't really say that this is the best chicken rice. Yeah. I mean, I've never tried like the best, super nice, memorable chicken rice. But this is definitely above average.
Which one is the most memorable to you? The chili, the rice, or
Actually,
everything?
it's more like a combination of everything. So basically, it blended well. It's normal. I mean, some people, right, they can just eat chicken rice for the rest of their life one. If you know what I mean. Yeah, so she's that kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Chicken rice 不会吃到腻了。
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. It's nice, and it's a national dish of Singapore. You know, right? Yeah. For viewers who are currently overseas or you don't reside in Singapore, yeah, so you should come and try our chicken rice. Okay, so now we are in front of the chicken rice shop. Okay, in hope that we can get a exclusive interview from the store owner. Let's hear from him what he has to share with us, and also let's see if we can get his chicken rice recipe. OK， 老板，第一个问题就是你可以先跟那个观众做个自我介绍先。你要叫 Peter 啊，今年几岁
53
53岁。然后第二个问题就是你可以跟大家分享你这个店的来源嘛？好像你在这里做了几年
，20年了。
20年了，是在这里卖鸡饭。
对
同样的这家店。
对。
OK， 所以你有卖什么鸡饭？
白鸡跟烧鸡。
白鸡、烧鸡，还有其他的东西吗？
没有了。
没有了。OK， 所以你最好卖的是白斩鸡还是烧鸡？
烧鸡。
烧鸡最好卖。
这个啊。
我们以为是你的白斩鸡最好。
因为每次我们来连你白鸡卖完了。
那个全部是烧鸡来的。
所以你一天大概卖几只烧鸡？几只白鸡？平均的来讲
，30
只烧鸡啊。还是总共
mix 啊，不过多数还是烧鸡啦。所以你是20多年就是在这里卖，不过你的经验呢？经验是从几时开始？
学徒的时候啊。
学徒的时候，21岁，就是21岁开始学啊。跟谁学
？32年。
跟谁学？跟谁学
啊？跟谁学？
找那种有生意的，然后去做哦。
有生意的，所以就是找一个厨师，然后再跟他学。
不是，以前的人不教的，
所以是偷学啊。所以你要学东西就是要偷学。
以前的人不教，现在人我教，你来我教。
OK， 哇，你讲啊。OK， 也是在那种餐厅或者是那种咖啡店学吗？还是
都有，
就那种古老的那些比较早一点的那些店啊。
对，以前要那个档活推出去。
推车，然后在外面卖的那种。
那个厨房是公司用，
所以你就在旁边比。
没有啦，好像我现在来这个公司做，他的饭好，我觉得饭然后我去那公司做，他的鸡好吃，他鸡咯。
所以就是一边做掺在一起。对 ，OK， 可以。
好像好，这个是他辣椒，比辣椒好啊。
难怪你什么都好了从你刚开始做的时候到现在，就是一个人自己营业的吗？
对，
就是几句就是一个人做到现在有帮手吗？
帮手有啦，
几只啊？帮手八单有啦，因为那个八单的没有来了，
都安迪，现在很难请人，
很难请。所以如果是有的请的话，你是会请的啦。
有的请会请，
因为太多人有那个队，看到我们来12点多，哇，那个队长到哇，好像去隔壁了。
然后你每天几点开始营业？几点收档
？11点多。
11点多啦，说开的时候是11点半。
差不多这样。
那关呢？
关不是我讲的。
甚至是要看
最后一个人几点报到
顾客几点？有时候4点，有时候6点多最晚。6
点多，所以你这边只是卖到午餐晚餐没有卖，
很少机会做到。
很少，为什么呢？
完了啊！
因为卖完了。OK，
你要每天卖完，那东西才会新鲜嘛。
对，所以要吃新鲜的来这边啊！你看啊，
一个礼拜开几天呢？7天，每天啊？
每天。
那你没有 off day 啊？
有。
说你怎么样？你打算几时 off？
我做到 off 我就累了 off 咯。
哦，所以你不会跟人家讲就是这个 off 的。
啊，我要不是5天10天。
所以OK，所以你平均的来讲，你每个月会休息几天？
平均
啊，平均来讲，就是每个
有时候一整个月没有休息。
没有休息，
没有休息。
OK。
有时候是一个月休息10天。
所以要看的啦，要看情况。
为什么这样呢？因为我们休息1天，我还是要回来做东西。
对。对。
那要熬汤啦，要什么啦，要什么啦。对。因为明天你来不及了。OK。早上。
你每天呢，even though你11点开工啦，可是你4点要到这边。
8点半。
哇。如果你关店哦，大概需要等几个小时来收档啊，还是洗碗那种？2个小时的。
开这家店哦，从头到现在最大的挑战性是什么？
没有什么困难的。
没有，
就是那个什么鸡不 flu 啊。
鸡瘟啊。疫情的时候呢，疫情OK吗？
疫情可以。
疫情还有到卖？
到卖。
有生意有被影响到吗？
没有。
因为太好吃了，
不是打包很多。
我打包，这边有里面有申请券的，
没有。
现在
对啊。
为什么呢？
我做不来，因为那个还要看电话，要看我的。
对。
今天要问的一个非常重要的问题就是你的鸡饭最大的秘密武器是什么？听说你的食谱里面有加了一个特别的材料，是可以跟大家分享。
不可以。
所以有那个秘密武器在里面了。OK，
没有啦，要勤劳做。
要勤劳 ，OK， 勤劳就是那个秘密武器。对不对 ？OK， 所以是可以跟人家分享的。
其实是那个钟
，OK。
我早上要跟鸡冲凉。
每只鸡都要冲。
一只一只。
OK。
这个就是钟。
OK， 最后一个问题了啦。OK， 就是你有要跟观众分享些什么东西？
没有什么了，有空来吃饭了。
有空来吃饭，所以这边的地址是什么
？628。
OK， 洪茂桥第几区
？61街。
61街 61。OK， 所以来这边支持他。OK， 就这样子。OK，Thank you。
OK， 拜拜。
So, in conclusion, do you think that chicken rice is really worth it?
That's a very good question. So basically, I'll break it down into 3 different aspects. So maybe we can just take a look at the first aspect, which is the accessibility for cyclists. Okay, so in terms of accessibility, I think it is quite convenient for cyclists, because just now we actually cycled from Yishun all the way down to this hawker center, and it was, to be honest, it was quite a breeze. Yeah, so the journey is quite smooth, and of course, if let's say you ride all the way down to the hawker center, there is actually a designated bicycle bay directly outside of the hawker center, and that's where you can park your bike there. But just now when we makan there, right, then we kind of like park our bike directly beside our table, and it's also not obstructing any of the vendors or even the customers there lah. So I think it is quite convenient for cyclists. So what do you think?
For me, yes, especially if you stay around the area. So if you cycle, then yes, it's convenient. However, do note that there's actually a lot of construction going on, and some of the paths are actually quite narrow. One more thing to take note, that if that's your first time there, it might be a little bit tricky to navigate because of the construction. Other than that, if let's say you're quite familiar with the area, then yes, definitely, it's quite accessible.
So I wouldn't mind like dropping by just for lunch, to be honest. Yeah, even if I'm not riding or even if I'm riding.
But that's provided you're nearby, right?
If I'm nearby.
Yeah.
If I'm nearby. So the second aspect is is the food really delicious?
So for me, definitely yes, because I've been eating this since young. For me, in terms of chicken rice, the most important thing is actually the rice, firstly. So the rice itself has to be flavorful. Next would be the chili. In Singapore, there's a lot of chicken rice store. But however, I feel not every store in Singapore is actually able to achieve a tasty rice, good tasting chili, and most importantly, when both of them actually are able to complement each other. Yeah, so that's for me. How about you?
That's true to a certain extent. So basically, if let's say I were to break down the chicken rice into several components, let me talk about the rice first. So like what you said earlier on, the rice is actually very fragrant, very aromatic. You can totally smell or taste the garlic ginger kind of taste. It is quite enhanced by the herb and spices. Yeah. So in terms of the chili, this one is subjective because to her she loves the chili, but to me the chili is still fairly somewhat similar to what you can eat outside. But I can tell that actually the uncle, he kind of like blended the chili until like very fine and it's quite smooth in that particular sense. Okay, chicken wise, quite tasty, quite juicy, and it's not the typical kind of a chicken where it is very dry and rough.
Yeah.
So I think chicken is quite tender, quite nice, and the skin is quite jelly-like as well. Yeah, so people don't like can just remove it. It's quite easy to peel off. Now we talk about the third aspect. Is there a unique selling point in this dish? What do you think?
For me, definitely yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, like in Singapore, there's a lot of chicken rice store out there, and sometimes I do try out the different chicken rice that is available.
Okay.
And to me, the most memorable is definitely this store. So yes, I say it is unique.
Okay, but on the other hand, for me, I feel that it is tasty for sure. It is definitely slightly above average, but uniqueness in terms of how different it is in comparison to its competitors. I say, for example, you can just go to any random chicken rice store. I wouldn't say that the uniqueness is much of a difference. There isn't much of a distinct flavor profile that is different, okay, in comparison to the competitors. Yeah, if you ask me, it's not a bad dish, it's quite delicious, but there is no unique selling point. Yeah, that's my stand, but it's still very nice. Okay, so that's it for today. So we will see you in our next episode. Peace!
OK， 老板今天的目的是来做一个访问哦 ，OK， 所以我们可以一边吃一边谈是吗？
可以。
啊，你的顾客又来了，有一个在后面，我们再等多一下咯。OK。